Had a little listen to his podcast, huh?
Dude, it's educational. And besides, I've been wanting to listen to this one.
Welcome to Idling in the Impala, a podcast by and for lovers of supernatural and the fan fiction it inspires. Before we begin, just want to remind you to follow us wherever you listen so you don't miss any episodes or bonus content. If you love what we do and want an easy way to show your support, please consider leaving us a positive that's all the stars rating on your favorite listening platform. It helps SPN and fanfic lovers find us and share in the fun. I'm Sandra.
I'm Kasey, and it's a character dive again. Woo!
Yay!
Let's talk about some characters. We were supposed to record this episode last week, and we didn't.
Yeah.
So,
and we had a fun little interaction on Discord about this, which was very...
So we're glad that we didn't record it last week, because if we had, then we would have gone, oh no, we just recorded that son of a bitch. Yeah. So the planets aligned. This week, we're talking about Kevin Solo himself, Kevin Tran, the Prophet, and he calls himself Kevin Solo. It's on his Wikipedia page.
He does. It's in season 9?
I don't know. I'm not there yet.
It's when Dean uses him as like one of like the his director, his FBI director, gets on the phone and he's like Kevin Solo, and then the other person's like, yeah, right. How old are you? And then he finds some dirt on this woman, and he's like, how about Cabo? Da 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 da. And she's like, what are you talking about? He's like, let my guys do their thing, or this goes all over the internet, or something like that. And so yeah, that was a little bit of a badass moment.
I like Kevin. Fake Sam calls him Special K as well, which is a drug euphemism in the UK. I don't know if it's a euphemism over there.
It is. Yeah. Yes, it is.
Awkward. I think that was possibly filmed before the ketamine pandemic, though.
God.
No, it's not a pandemic, is it? It's an epidemic. It's an epidemic of ketamine.
Please, there's only so many of these. There's only so many of those we could take. I think we don't need another one. I think
is it? Oh God, we're tangenting already. Is it a pandemic if it crosses borders?
Does it make it a global? Does it make a global pandemic? I've heard people call it global pandemic.
Hang on.
Now we've got to look it up.
Wait right there, guys. Difference B.
Then why have I heard people say a global pandemic? Pan sounds like it should be globe. Like Pan Am.
An epidemic is a disease outbreak that is rapidly spreading in a limited region. A pandemic is an epidemic that actively spreads across multiple regions across the globe. Yeah, so it's a pandemic.
Okay.
Why was the Black Death called a pandemic? This is how Google gets me, man. This is how Google fucking gets me.
When was Black Death? Regions, that would be why. It wouldn't necessarily be cool. It's saying regions throughout the globe, like not
multiple regions across the globe, not everywhere.
Yeah,
like COVID was everywhere,
but not initially. Like it hit a couple different regions, and boom, like it was everywhere too. But I think at that point they called it a pandemic. I've heard people say global pandemic though too. So some people are adding an extra term to a word that's not necessary. But that's okay. It just happens. So anyway. Kevin is not shouldn't be either of those things, an epidemic or a pandemic. He's dealing with the epidemics that are Sam and Dean.
Pandemic of demons, though. Demons are all across the globe. He's helping to deal with a pandemic of demons.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Good Christ. We've gone off the rails fast before, but we've never gone off the rails that fast before.
Oh my gosh.
So who's Kevin Tran? Kevin Tran is a prophet of the Lord. Kevin Tran is unaware of his prophet of the Lord status before it happens to him. Poor Kevin. I feel really sorry for Kevin.
It's one of those, I mean, I know we've talked about like intros, and like great intros. Like I think Charlie has a really great intro. Death has a really great intro. Kevin's intro right off the bat is very tragic. Like the cold open with him is him getting zapped. I'm trying to think of the actual way the episode is lined up. I don't remember if we see what Sam and Dean are doing to the tablet until after you see Kevin getting like pretty much almost like electrocuted and like lifted up and then like falls to the ground situation.
I think Kevin might be the cold open for that episode.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Because he's going over his plan with his girlfriend, isn't he? They're on like video call or something, and he's like, to do 8 hours of drugs,
he's very stressed.
Don't do sleep, blah blah blah. Like
I don't even think I don't think there were drugs involved yet for Kevin.
It's a fucking It's drink milk, stay in school, get 8 hours of sleep, don't do drugs.
Yeah.
And then it's like, don't do sleep, get 8 hours of drugs, stay in milk, drink school. I don't know. I just know the get 8 hours of drugs don't sleep.
What instrument was he playing? Wasn't he playing an instrument? Or was it his girlfriend? I feel like he was playing an instrument before he was like, oh no, I've got to like get my studying in or something.
If he was,
it's not
I'll
listed.
stick a violin.
No, it was the big. I think it's the big one. What's the big?
A cello, double bass.
Might be a cello, or maybe the girlfriend plays a cello. Somebody's playing something.
We're so fucking prepared for this. We have a document for this and everything. We're so ready.
But I don't think it's going to say it. Reading is fundamental. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking. Was a young Asian honors student. He's practicing his cello. That's what
okay.
He's doing.
That's why I thought it was the big one. I was like, for words.
That's not the
big violin.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I know it's not.
It's not. It's the second medium. It's not.
For me, in my brain, I was like, big violin. That's what it looks like.
I mean,
I did not know cello. It was not coming
like
to my
it's
brain.
It's one of the violins, the uprighty one. No, not the massive one, the other one. Oh, cello, yeah.
So yes, he is struck by divine lightning, lifted off his feet, then passes out. In my mind, the intro for him, like it's not a great intro, and I think it just sets you up for the fact that this poor kid has no agency in anything that's going on with his life. Before the thing and after, because everything is very much like, this is what I'm expected to do because my parents are expecting this from me, and then this is what I'm expected to do because this is what God has said I've had to do. Whether I like it or not, I have to follow this path now, kind of a thing. And I think that's.
Are we going to give the writers of Supernatural enough credit to say that they probably chose Kevin to be Asian American because of that stereotype? Are we going to give them enough credit for that?
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, it feels deliberate.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so much overlap there, guys. Good Christ. But I don't like giving the writers of Supernatural credit for anything because a lot of this stuff that happens by fucking accident, not because they designed it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. Like, Supernatural's not great with
and it's not great with cultural representation either.
No, so I don't know. I mean, I think it ends up being a really good look at just him as a person, student. Again, like, I think I was just thinking about it in terms of like his expectation too in life, and the fact that they went that. I mean, I guess we could eventually at some point we could try and ask the writers of who wrote this one, because I don't remember who wrote this one. I hope it's not my favorite writers, because then that says so much. For this. Okay, tell me.
Season 9, Kevin.
Season 7. He comes in. 7. Reading is fundamental.
Oh yeah, he does. That's it.
Maybe it's
Ben Edlund.
Ben Edlund. Okay.
Ben Edlund wrote and directed it.
It's a good episode. It's just that I don't know. I wonder if there's commentary on it. It'd be interesting to see what the thought process was. You know, did they think Asian American because of the whole, like, because I think one of the episodes too is like, what's up, Tiger Mommy? What's up, Tiger
Mommy?
Yeah. So I mean, I think they're definitely riding the line of a lot of, like, you know, stereotypes. I think, which Supernatural.
I will say, not being Asian, like, take this with a grain of salt, because I am categorically not Asian anything. That is not where my people come from. But Linda Tran subverts a lot of the Asian mom expectations. I think she fully goes like gung ho to bat for her kid, you know, and she's always Team Kevin, which, in my very limited experience of those kind of Asian parents that are very obsessed with studying and appearance, they don't tend to go to bat for their children. And I quite like Linda.
I don't know. I mean, I think that's, I don't know if we get into not even just cultural, but almost class territory with that too. And I think, like I said, I think certain upper class, middle class, your expectations are certain paths that you have to follow. But that goes along the lines of like everything really in general. It's like, you know, my Italian American, my dad who came from Italy, and then, lived.
You were born here.
I was born here. So it's early, guys, but I thought I could do this at an early time
Sandra,
in the morning.
you're doing great, baby. You're doing great.
That's
interesting. Reading is fundamental is my next episode to watch.
I think my dad's expectation would have been, because he had a construction business, was like, his kids would continue, his business. I think it's more of just a family thing for a lot of people, like continuing a line, following a path.
I don't want to make assumptions about your father or your culture, but I would bet your job was to be in the office and do the books.
Oh no,
and it
probably
wasn't to go out on site.
No, probably.
Ew, no, girls don't do that.
My brother would have probably been the one that would have been expected to, do the labor part of it or like oversee things. Eventually get like that position, and then I would have probably been the one. Again, the expectations, family expectations, can be either very cultural, class, a combination of everything, and then this is what we get. And I think this is I think it's a good representation of Kevin, and what he's saddled with from the very beginning. He's so
very lack of agency, 100%.
And he's so invested and so worried and so like, oh my gosh, baby, you need some Tums. Like there's so much going on in your tummy. You are so hyper about everything.
Like, I can't remember how old Kevin is supposed to be. I think he's like coming up on his last year of high school, something like that, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My eldest, he's not coming up on his last year of high school, but like high school's starting to ramp up for him. We have end of like big exams at the end of high school that like they influence a lot of things you post high school. We finished high school at 16 in the UK, so it's a bit different. But like, I feel dreadful for Kevin because he's so stressed, and you can see that there's so much expectation. Even if he's putting on himself, like that kind of shit doesn't come from nowhere, and I feel dreadful for him. I want to be like, baby, just go be outside. Just go outside for 5 minutes, an hour, 5 hours. Just go.
Plus, I think if we're going based off the fact that then you eventually realize he's the next prophet, and you contrast him to Chuck, right? Like there's definitely a difference in how he ends up like coming to terms with it, I think, than the way Chuck embodied it. But then it was still not necessarily like a gift, right? Like again, this is if you're going by the fact that it's Chuck Shirley, like it is just a person situation like that's been told he was a prophet. The way he embraces it, I think, is a little bit different. There's still this, what the fuck do I do? But Kevin is all about like, he's already thinking like 15 or 20 steps ahead of all of the things that have to happen and all the things. What if, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to do this. Oh my gosh, this is going to have to be this is my life now. Like it's very overwhelming in a way that's, I think, a little bit different than how Chuck handled it in the beginning.
Well, I think, isn't it that, no, this might be a later thing. It might be Crowley that does it actually. Aren't the Leviathans killing the prophets so they can kind of get a jump on the next one? Crowley that does that later. That's
Crowley that's trying to do that. Yeah, that's Crowley in season 8, I think.
I knew somebody did that because then I was like, I wonder if Kevin wasn't meant to become a prophet until he was much older. Because it's like a line of not succession, but like there's it's a linear kind of process, isn't it? There can only ever be one on Earth at one time.
Yeah, and I think Sam and Dean started by breaking the tablet, like that they, he's yeah.
It's on my rewatch, guys. It's
no. So I think like it's happening at the same time. Like again, like Kevin, I think is a cold open, and then I think you see Sam and Dean breaking the tablet, and when they do that, that's kind of how he was hit with that like divine lightning situation. So I think that's what did it. It's kind of like if he was going to be the next in line, I guess, anyway, but maybe they just jump started it, with the tablet.
Because it was my understanding that there was a line of people, and if one of them died, then this would be the next one and the next one and the next one. But there was only ever supposed to be one on Earth at a time. So it was, I don't think, I assumed that the previous prophet had to die for Kevin to get the zap, not just Sam and Dean finding the tablet.
Again,
maybe, I don't know.
We don't know what shenanigans Chuck was doing. Like, how did
fucking 15, man, just throw everything into
everything. How did he mess that up if he did it all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if he put himself, and again, there's
the Leviathans. They come for Kevin to kidnap him.
Mm-hmm,
so there's every chance that they were also, you know, that they grabbed the last prophet
because they wanted to translate the tablet. Like, that's the thing. I think once the tablet is in Dick's possession, I think that's when, like, he needs that translated kind of a situation. So
but I mean, the Leviathans could have grabbed the last prophet and been like, okay, we've got the prophet, we need the tablet, and then the two will meet. And then out of frustration or whatever, or the last prophet died, and it just kind of coincided with Kevin. I don't know. We don't know. We'll email the writer. We'll email Ben. We'll be like, Ben, hi, you don't know us, but we're in a Supernatural podcast. Don't Google it. Really important that you don't Google it. We're not kind to you. Not you specifically, just your group of friends. Don't Google it. That's fucking irrelevant, right? Ben, babe. Did the last prophet have to die? Did the prophet before Kevin die, and that's why Kevin became a prophet? Or was it the presence of the tablet on Earth again in human hands that triggered the zapping of the next prophet? Like, what happened? Ben, let us know. Email.
There's so many questions. So many questions.
Ben is not good at email as well. Probably because we didn't email him. I invented it all, but never mind.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, poor Kevin. He goes from having to study for his SATs to having to study to save the fucking world, which honestly, big fucking leap.
Yeah,
but, I mean, he's only like 17, isn't he? He's only a baby.
Yeah, he's a baby, and he gets put through. There's
18-year-olds that listen to this now, going, "I'm not a baby. Fucking hell, you are.
You're
are,
a baby
guys.
to us."
Yeah, we're very old. Sandra's over there going, "Who's this wee business?"
Oh no, I'm the ancient one here. Like, you're just older. I'm the one that's like.
Sandra has referred to me as a baby multiple times, so
I'm the mother hen in the Discord server, apparently. Yeah, the den mother.
It's cute,
den mother.
It's
yeah.
Cute,
the reason that I thought this was this is very prophetic or fun. This was an interesting thing that happened yesterday, because like Kasey had said, we were going to record Kevin's episode a couple weeks before, because we were kind of like thrown off by a couple different factors with our recording. So we're like, let's do Kevin earlier, and then we're like. We kind of felt like we were rushing Kevin and honestly, like, Kevin is so not treated well in the show that I was like, you know what? Let's not rush Kevin. He
deserves better.
Let's take our time with Kevin. Let's actually just know when we're going to record Kevin. And then one of our, a member in our Discord server, CrowleysMistress, had actually just at time of recording this, our Charlie deep dive just came out, and CrowleysMistress had said, so if you haven't done one already, which is kind of funny because they're like, I'm only caught up through July. So if it's happened before that, I don't know. But I'd really like you to do a character deep dive on Kevin. And I was just like, would you believe we're going to record Kevin tomorrow? And they were like, sweet. And then CrowleysMistress just gave us a ton
CrowleysMistress had thoughts about Kevin, which we love thoughts. Tell us your thoughts, people.
And I was like, can I use your stuff like that you've written as like a jumping off point for us? Because I think we kind of are all over the place when we do our character deep dives. We don't necessarily have a document or like anything for it. We used to.
We don't anymore.
But we don't really do that anymore with our deep dives. And I just thought CrowleysMistress kind of hit a lot of points that I think we've always talked about with Kevin along the way. So I just want to read like this first part. So yeah, the other day when Kevin chose to stay as a ghost, I teared up and my son was like, Mom, it's not that deep.
Oh,
and I was
the
like,
children's.
And I was like, imagine you're 17, planning your college life and suddenly have a compulsion you don't understand to do this thing and drive off to this place you don't know. Then you get involved in this plot of translating a supernatural tablet, and you get isolated from humanity, like in an abandoned boat, and are eating crap. No contact, except like 3 people. Later, you're on the run from angels, demons, witches. Your girlfriend gets killed. Your mom gets kidnapped. You get kidnapped. You get killed by an angel possessing the body of a friend. Heaven is closed, so you get caught in the veil. Then God says you can go to heaven, but sends you to hell. That's a lot. That
is so much. Yeah.
It's a lot, and weirdly not a lot with Supernatural, but still a lot. Like, a lot of things happen to Kevin that don't necessarily happen to a ton of other characters. Like, he gets a really...
He's very unique.
For just a few seasons that he's like he's in 7, 8, 9. He gets a lot of plot, and he's a driving factor in how stuff does or doesn't happen. And that's not something that I think occurs with a lot of our supporting characters as much as it does with Kevin. So it's like very concentrated, and like he's the thing they need to get from point A to point B. Like it's not just we need Kevin this one time. It's we need Kevin again and again and again and again. And Crowley's Mistress also says, as a translator by trade, I identify with Kevin so hard, the migraines. So I can't wait to talk to Crowley's Mistress about that. That'll be fun. It'll be fun to talk about. But so, yeah, it's a lot. So like, Crowley's Mistress's son, I think, just didn't really like think about it, like in great detail about everything that's going on. You don't handle that well at any age, let alone when you're 17 and have all that happen to you.
Absolutely. This is another thing that Crowley's Mistress brought up, but it's something I was thinking about when we were sort of talking about Kevin and stuff. And I might be about to set off Sandra here. Sorry, Sandra. I think Kevin is a great representation of how the boys can, on occasion, not always, but on occasion, treat people as things, not people. Because they kind of just go, whoa, you're 17, do this. And like, yeah, they leave him on the boat and they don't check in on him. And I'm talking about they as well. I know Sam like fucks off, but yeah, I'm still not about that. You were with Amelia, you should have been with Kevin, Samuel. But they just leave him there, and they don't seem to have any real care for his health, mental or physical, or the weight of what they're asking him to do, anything like that. And you see it with other characters. They're very pick up and put down. Oh yeah, no, I'm in total agreement with that. I mean, did you see my note above Crowley's Mistress? Like, I hate Dean. I don't hate Dean. I hate how Dean treats Kevin. Yeah. It's one of my least favorite things I see him do over the course of the whole show, because until Jack.
Yeah, Jack is another one too. But see, Jack I get, because Jack is like, I get where Dean's coming from, where, he's the son of Lucifer. Like that makes sense to me. Like there's an initial, like, he's the son of Lucifer. Like I understand his initial reasoning. What I don't like, and I was really thinking about this a little bit more today, because I've always thought that Dean has a tier system of people. Sam is at the very tippy top and everybody else is like underneath, right? So it's like, take care of Sammy. Everybody else isn't as important. And I know that for Dean, Kevin just becomes a tool for a greater purpose. And when I was really starting to think about it today, I was like, I think this is the closest I've ever seen Dean behave like John. I think that's why it hurts to see him just think about time after time. He can't stop telling Kevin, you have to do the thing because of this. And really, that's how he was treated by John, how Sam was treated by John. And he's just repeating the sins of the father in this situation. And I think that really does bother me very, very, very much with this, whenever I see that. And I think it's the same thing when we see how Sam went about, again, I don't think I think unfortunately this is kind of in character with Dean, right? Like how he treats Kevin more than what they did with Sam. I don't know. It could be debated. When Sam left,
just going off grid like that. I don't like that. That doesn't ring true.
I think it makes sense in terms of him like trying to get out of the life like he did, right? Like way back, like what started everything in school. Like that part makes sense. But the fact that he's just didn't think about Kevin.
But then you know what? Maybe that does make sense, because Sam and Dean were very much raised in, there's only you and your brother and blah, 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 blah. And, for Sam to just haul off and be like, well, I don't have my brother, so there's nothing. But then like I have a lot of issues with Sam taking off when Dean goes to purgatory anyway.
Yeah. So there's a lot there in and of itself to unpack. But I think with Dean, the tool thing is very much like, how can you not step? And this is when I think you're so invested in something, you can't step back and see how you are acting like the very thing that you maybe don't want to be, but it's just the goal of it. And like the boys have their own stuff to contend with family wise, but I think Kevin is a good sort of representation of both of them in different ways as to how they're being treated and the decisions they make. Because I think Kevin does maybe like Dean. It's just like, well, this is my job now. And whether he likes it or doesn't like it, he's going to continue to do it to the point of it's not good for him kind of a situation.
Yeah.
But this is what he's quote unquote supposed to do because my family, quote unquote family, is telling me this is what I need to do. Like, I have to do this for, I don't know. And even like with his mom, I think his mom is like, you know, oh, my son's a prophet. Almost like it's like, you know, oh, my son's like, you know, a CEO or like, you know, like something big that, you know, it's like it gets that kind of a feel to it too. Like, and I think he's just kind of like being roped into it. And again, I don't necessarily think that's the fault of the mom or anything. I just think it's a part of expectation. And I think Dean should have, but you know, we all learn at different points and stages in our lives. And sometimes we do repeat the sins of our parents until we have an awakening. And I don't think Dean really got that awakening until much later in the show. And we're talking halfway through the show at this point. And I still don't think he was really fully there. I don't think he ever really got fully there in the show. I think he was close to it. But I really don't like these moments of Dean like this. I understand it. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like I understand it, but I don't like it. I understand what he's thinking in his head. And again, if you've been told for years, you know, take care of Sam, or we've got to find this, or we've got to take care of this, and it takes a lot to get out of that. And they didn't have any help to get out of that. So
I think as well, there are people like everywhere, not just in Supernatural, but everywhere, and they're like I call them I can't people. And I don't, like, I'll be straight honest, I don't have a lot of patience for them. But they're people who, when they encounter something difficult, they just go, oh, I can't. Oh, I can't. There's always someone in the vicinity that goes, fucking fine. It's usually me, in my particular family. It was me. But John was a very don't take no for an answer. So when Sam and Dean said, we can't, you know, not even we don't want to, we can't, John was like, well, you're fucking gonna. And I think Dean very much, and I mean Sam as well, he's very hard on himself, but Dean very much embodied that. So it wouldn't occur to him that Kevin shouldn't be doing this. It wouldn't occur to him that he should be taking better care of Kevin while he's doing this, because that's the job and you do it. You know, Dean has very little time for I can't. And like I will say as well, being an I can person is equally as unhealthy. Right. It's not great because you barge all over your own fucking boundaries because you're like, well, like small tangent here. Obviously, like y'all, if you've been listening for more than a minute, you know that my mum passed away when I was 22. And while I was looking after her, people were like, oh, you're so strong. You're so, I couldn't do what you're doing. And I was like, what is the other option? Just leave it to die? Like there literally is no other option here. I do it or she dies. You know, and we're talking about like this was very basic caring at this point. This is just like, you know, making sure that she had food, you know, like helping her to and from the bathroom, but not necessarily with the bathroom. You know, stuff like that, like washing clothes. And they were like, oh, you're being so strong. And I was like, is there another option that I could be being? Like, can I like if you all fall to bits and fall over, if I fall to bits and fall over, do you know what happens? Literally nothing. Nothing gets fucking done. And then it was the same with the funeral and I couldn't. Oh, I can't. Well, what is the other fucking option? You know? And I got like hella sick. I got hella sick from doing that. So, you know, sometimes like being an I can person, not necessarily the healthiest, don't barge all over your own boundaries, but there are people that when faced with, you know, even something that's mildly uncomfortable, they just go, oh, I can't. Somebody else has to do it. And I think Dean has very little time for that anyway. On top of that, Dean was raised with the expectation that John snapped his fingers and Dean did. And he very much embodies that. And we see it, I think it's in Weekend at Bobby's, but the boys call, I'm sure it's Weekend at Bobby's. The boys call for something and they want information and he gives them it and they just go, thanks, Bobby, click.
Yeah, that's
and he's
Dean.
like, I'm fine too, guys. You know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like played off as a joke, but that is, it's different with Bobby because Bobby's like a full ass adult. He's older than them. He's been taking care of himself for longer than they've been alive.
But he gives them a talking to that they haven't heard in a bit.
Yeah.
Too, that I think they need, that there is something outside of the mission, and I again, that you have to unlearn that. And it's like a habit, and it takes a different amount of time for every person to do. And you have to be willing to see that there's another option. And if you're not, and that's probably Kevin too. Kevin's not given any other options, right? And he wasn't given any other options in his life before being a prophet. So why would he necessarily? He's waiting to be told what to do, I think, too. And Dean gives him that kick that he's like, "You've got to do this," kind of a situation.
Like the Winchesters in general, and I do include Sam in this. They are very pick up and put down people.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, if they need something from you or they need your help, they'll be up your ass, like 100%. They'll be in your business.
Mm-hmm.
But once that's done, they're in the wind.
Yeah.
And you see it so much with Bobby, and it's tolerated. Bobby tolerates it. There's familial love there and things like that. But
I think that's different too, because Bobby's already a part of the Hunter network. That's kind of the status quo, I think, like within that community, right? Like there's not a lot of personal one-on-one, like they have a familiarity with them that's grown over the years. But for most people in that community, it's kind of like a, hey, I need this. Hey, where are you? Hey, who's close? Like that kind of a situation. So I think it's more tolerated in that kind of a community, where
possibly,
in a situation like Kevin, it should be different because he's a child. Like he should
and that's what it comes down to. Because the other people that they do this with, or they do it with Crowley, and they do it with Rowena, and they do it a hell of a lot with Castiel as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there was not a great deal of time for helping Castiel out with his troubles, just calling on him and going, "We need."
Yeah.
But that is the crux of it. Kevin was a child, and he needed more than what they provided him, like 1,000%.
And that's why, like I said, it reminds me of John, like just in that vein.
That's it. That's exactly like I can 100% see, because I don't want to, I can't do this. They weren't listened to.
Mm-hmm.
It was literally beaten out of them.
Mm-hmm.
You keep going until you fall down,
mm-hmm.
And even then you try your fucking best to get back up and keep going. There was no I quit.
Right.
So yeah, it's very much how they were raised and and it's like, we talk about how isolated they are from everyone else, and this is probably a part of it, because they just don't know how to deal with other people outside of a transactional relationship of, I can do this for you, you can do this for me, and then I'll call you if I have another problem, or you call me if you have another problem.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because that ties into something else that CrowleysMistress had said about the self-harm of the work. That Kevin demonstrated, and that his girlfriend initially and Dean later support, because when we meet him, he's obsessive with his tests, getting to university, and then on the boat he's obsessive to get the translation, and Dean brings him like the Costco-sized painkiller, knowing that is basically all he is taking with coffee and one crappy meal a day, but is like, well, shrug emoji.
Yeah. No, it's really it's a spot on indication of, like, again, just like Kevin can't get out of this mindset, and it just gets stamped onto this other thing. It is. It is.
It is hard to watch. As people like, me and Sandra will tell you, our parents did not have a great deal of time for I can't.
Yeah.
So we're kind of watching it going, fuck, no. Oh, yeah. No, baby.
Well, because stuff's got to get done, right? Like, stuff has to happen, like you were saying. Like, sometimes it's just a survival thing. And I think in this situation, it wasn't necessarily a survival initially for Kevin post-Prophet, but now it's like, it's all he's trying to do things, really just, I think he sees it as a way out. Like, if I do this next thing, if I get this next thing done, maybe I can get back to a life.
Get back to my life.
And then I think there's this resignation and realization that this is all there is. And that's very depressing and sad and not in existence at all for somebody who had such potential and dreams of being, like, I think the first Asian American president. I think, like, that's what he says in, like, the cold open, so there's goals that maybe, even if they might have been, maybe they might have started as part of, like, the family's expectations, but he still probably built goals for himself
He's very much
within that.
internalized those expectations.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that's a whole discussion about putting that much pressure. Like, children don't tend to invent that pressure. Children are pretty free spirits. It's, sometimes it's very obvious, but sometimes it's subtle. Children internalize those expectations from people around them, and that can cause them to put the pressure on themselves. But very rarely do they just find it.
I did like CrowleysMistress made a really interesting point, something I had not put together, because I think we had talked about this before, because we were trying to figure out the whole archangel thing with Kevin.
Yeah.
And CrowleysMistress starts talking about the fucking Metatron. Ugh, like, let's get all into this.
Fuck Metatron.
Like, kid is dying, and dude had the translation the whole time. Also, since there were no archangels left, he didn't get any protection as he was supposed to as a prophet, because Raphael had been killed in the whole Leviathan/Godstiel mess. Lucifer and Michael are in the cage, and Gabriel is being held by Asmodeus, even if we don't know it yet. Asmodeus, even if we don't know it yet. So
yeah, I also hadn't thought about that, but that's because when it's Chuck, and he's like, Castiel's like, if danger comes to a prophet, an archangel will appear to protect them, and then that's just never fucking mentioned again.
Yeah.
We're Kevin.
It's nice, but it's nice to have that kind of like, oh yeah, because I know I was thinking about this, like, why wasn't this happening? And maybe I wasn't putting the connection together that it was archangel, like, at the time. Like, I was like, I don't understand why Kevin was just like left out to dry, and this makes sense. He was open to being stalked by Crowley. He wasn't given any protection. And I guess, that it hurts even more with it being a kid. And then all of the things that he was trying to do just to make sure his mom would stay safe, because his mom was being used as a pawn as well. Like, do this or your mom gets it. I think Dick Roman said that. Crowley was using that.
Crowley does it, yeah.
So, what's a kid supposed to do? When that's really all, I don't know if Kevin's dad had already passed or just wasn't in the picture, or what the deal was there. I don't know if it's ever stated explicitly.
He died when Kevin was a baby.
Okay. But yeah, and then, I mean, the way he gets killed, is just...
We have to talk about that.
Well, because it's a part
obviously.
of his tragic, it's so tragic that, and this again is one of those things where I feel like they use a character, it's along the veins of Charlie. They use a character to give someone motivation to do a thing next or to further the plot. And that's very upsetting that Sam, who's not Sam when he does it, he's inhabited by Ezekiel, who ends up being Gadriel. And Gadriel is manipulated by Metatron, that if you do this thing for me, if you kill this person, you'll become my right hand, you'll help me with my plan and stuff. And he does that. He kills Kevin in Sam.
It's fucking brutal as well.
It is really, and it's very out of the blue and happens very quickly. So it's like you're not even like prepared for it. It's just like something's going to happen. But I think that episode, it's kind of set up in a way to really like just like gut you. And it's like, I remember my husband is not a fan of this at all, and he gets very upset about Dean. How Dean handles all of this too with Kevin. He very much like, he can't stand seeing the eye, like, just ever like the white light like emanating out of Kevin.
The burning out of his eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. And just like that. And you're just like, and then all of a sudden Dean gets all teared. I'm like, for fuck's sake, dude, like, well, too little. Too late,
I struggle with that, because I'm like, you don't like,
you don't show it. Like it's almost like having like your regret, when someone passes. It's like, I just don't have a lot of patience for that. Like, I'm almost like, you had so many opportunities to show him that you appreciated him. And I think he gets it every once in a while, but not enough, and like he's eventually taken into the bunker, and that, just becomes, he only has that safety.
When they set him up in the houseboat, they didn't have the bunker. That's not 100% their fault.
They did have the bunker.
They didn't get the bunker until 8.
But Kevin was on the boat in 8.
I'm sure they didn't have the bunker before they put Kevin on the boat.
No, but then once they got the bunker, why wouldn't you bring Kevin?
Because they weren't thinking about Kevin right then.
Again, right.
He's a plot convenient point,
right?
You know, like the babies, plot convenient children. I hate plot convenient children.
So that's what I mean. Like, as soon as the bunker came into, one of the first things I should have said was, we need to get Kevin off that houseboat and get him here, because he's more protected here than on God Love Garth, but the houseboat was not enough, you know. And then you find out too that, you know, Garth was just gone too because of all the stuff that ends up happening to him, and it's like, you know,
no one's having a good time.
No one's having a good time with this situation. So yes, it's a tragic intro and it's a tragic ending for Kevin. And I feel very bad. And like, even when they keep bringing him back, it's still tragic. Like, he's still not getting where he needs to go. And I mean, even by the end of 15, he's just what?
We don't know.
He's just going to roam around the earth until, like, you know, instead of like that's what I was imagining, like the way they left it. Honestly, like 15 is a whole heap and mess of like when they bring characters back and then what they end up doing with them. So I think you still know that he made a choice not to go to heaven in 15. I think he's just like, no, I'd rather just wander around and maybe I'll go crazy, maybe I won't, kind of a situation. I'm just like, oh, my dude, like,
no, he still can't get into heaven,
right?
Chuck
so he has to just wander around. In 15, right? Yeah, he still has to wander around.
Yeah, because Chuck rises all the souls, pulls all the souls out. Kevin appears, helps them. After the situation is resolved, Kevin decides to wander the earth as a ghost, having learned from Belfgott, one of my favourite characters, by the way, that he can't get into heaven. Sam warns him that being a ghost with nothing to tie him anywhere would be a terrible way to exist. The way Kevin sees it is 2 options, hell or earth. In hell, he would get tortured for eternity, while on Earth, he might eventually go crazy, which Kevin sees as the better option.
Yeah, it just sucks. That sucks. He's never given good options. Yeah, and I just don't like that for him. Or he's told something and something doesn't end up being, you know, given to him, and it's. And
sucky. then we don't see him again after that. Belphegor opens the barrier and Kevin leaves. He's referenced in the episode Golden Time. Dean tells Eileen that souls from hell can never get into heaven, and then Kevin appears in the flashback at the end of Inherit the Earth.
They bring an alternate version of him back in season 13, Apocalypse World Kevin, which I also don't.
Really?
Yeah, no. I just don't like. Again, like, he's not given a lot of options in that one either. Season 13. Oh man. But yeah, I just poor Kevin. Yeah, it makes me sad for him on a lot of levels. CrowleysMistress actually writes, I love his arc. He really finds himself, strangely becomes stronger, and in the end, freer, despite having one of the most tragic storylines in SPN. They really did him dirty. Fully agree, but they really did him dirty. CrowleysMistress makes some real world references that.
Yeah, it's super fucking cute. So this is just like behind the scenes. I'll read CrowleysMistress. CrowleysMistress's message, which was, and for Kasey that likes the real world references, I believe the first episode that Osric filmed, Osric is the guy who plays Kevin, was the day Jared's first kid was born. So he was shooting, Jen was in labor, and they wrapped, and Jared was like, hey man, are you okay with me running off? My wife is in the hospital. And it's really funny because there's a lot of funny behind the scenes from that episode, but it's the one where they're chasing Kevin around the woods. When they're chasing Kevin around the woods, because Cassiel's there as well, because it's that behind the scenes cold, and it's that behind the scenes where Misha picks up a worm and Joe's like, eat it, I dare you to eat it, you have to eat it, and Misha goes, I'm not going to eat it, that's disgusting, I'm going to wear it as a worm stash, which is not quite as disgusting but still disgusting. I don't like worms. But I'm pretty sure it's from the same episode, but yeah, it's cold. It's like misty and foggy and stuff, and fucking Kevin's he's got the tablet, he's just losing his shit, running around in the woods, and the guys are like, Kevin, no, come back here. Yeah, and that is I've heard Jared tell that story, and he was like, so my wife's giving birth, is it okay if I like leave? And Osric's like, dude, yes, go, why have you waited?
It's Osric. Is it Osric Chau? I think it's Osric Chau. Yeah. He's I know I don't know what else he's done, but I know that there's this parody YouTube site, Hillywood.
He's been in that, yeah.
They've done 2 of them that he's been in, and he does a really fun job. I think he plays Sam. I think he plays Sam in both of them, and I think it's really cute. It's a cute little like homage to, I think, the Mark of Cain Dean, where they use "Shake It Off" by Taylor Swift, which is really good. And then they do like a Ghostbusters parody in the second one, and yeah, it's really, if you haven't checked them out, I think it's Hillywood, and if you just do like Supernatural Hillywood, I think you'll get like Hollywood, but just with Hilly in it. They're really, really cute.
Yeah, Supernatural. He's actually done.
Has he directed something? I feel like he's directed a little something too, like on his own. Like he's done his own little like short or something.
He did. He was a choreographer and executive producer for a short. Yeah, he's done 5 parodies for the Hillywood show.
Mm-hmm.
So he played Glenn in the Walking Dead parody. He played Sam in the Supernatural parody 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
He played Mariety in the Sherlock parody, and he played Ben Hargreaves in the Umbrella Academy parody.
Oh, those are cute.
He's produced some films.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of in the last few years. He did a little bit of TV before Supernatural,
Mm-hmm.
like TV films and stuff like that. He was a character on Criminal Minds, because I think everyone that's if you stand still long enough in Vancouver, they'll put you in something.
Or Law and Order. Yeah, or Law and Order.
Yeah, and he's in the DC verse, I guess it is.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Flash and Arrow, those, he played a character in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Ryan Choi / Atom.
Okay.
So again, if you stand still long enough, the CW will put you in the Flash or Daredevil or Arrow. Like it will happen if you stand still long enough.
Mm-hmm.
The CW will be like, we've got a fucking superhero for you.
Yeah.
He was in a Star Trek episode. Oh, he's in Fire Country as well.
Oh, neat. I wonder if he had a scene with Jared.
He's only in 1 episode. So
oh, okay. And he's only, in real life, he's only like, I think CrowleysMistress said he's only like 4 years younger than Jared, even though he played much younger on Supernatural.
There is no date of birth. Is it really only that? Oh, please.
Yeah.
Apparently, Osric said it at SeattleCon. He was like, the spell that Sam had, he could bring back 1 ghost. And he was like, I don't know, Eileen or Kevin. I think he owed it to Kevin. After all, he did kill me. And someone was like, but Sam loved Eileen. And he was like, Kevin could be a love interest. He's single. Which is super fucking cute. And actually, you know what? That would have made much more sense thematically and plotline wise for him to bring Kevin back and be like, I'm so sorry, dude. But then he wouldn't have got that really beautiful scene of Eileen stepping out of the bathtub. Osric brings up a very valid point that maybe Sam fucking owes him a little bit. Maybe.
Oh, just a little. Just a tad.
Just a teensy weensy little bit.
Just a tad.
Just a small amount of owing.
Just a smidgen.
For his death.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, we love Kevin, though. He should have been.
Yeah. He deserved better, as a lot of people did on this show. Absolutely.
Hashtag justice for Kevin. Can we not do that? Or is it only hashtag justice for Missouri?
No, we could do it for Kevin, too. We do it justice for Charlie, too. A lot of them deserve stuff. A lot of them do. So, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hashtag justice for Kevin. I don't really...
Yeah, is there any final thoughts on Kevin? Because we've also got a busy recording day, so we've got a few things to record. But we wanted to take the time and not just, like I said, shoehorn him in.
Through. Yeah. CrowleysMistress brings up a point that obviously Kevin is a person of color, which is Supernatural historically not great with persons who are not white and male.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. I always do like it when we get a character that's just a little bit of diversity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I think it's important. I think it could always probably be done better, but I think with what they did with Kevin, I think they really did flesh him out.
Yeah,
as a character, and I think that was important.
They worked with him. Yeah.
So it wasn't just a one and done thing.
Was much better than what they did with that witch and his familiar, who turned into a dog, who also happened to be a black lady, and we were all very uncomfortable.
Supernatural sometimes. Man, oh man, that's for another episode. That's for another episode.
I was going to say something, and now I can't remember what I was going to say. But I know the second we start wrapping up, I'll remember.
Well, then if you remember when we discuss it in Discord, you could say, "Oh, I remembered the thing. I wanted to say the thing."
Oh, I want to have remembered it by then.
Yeah,
I want to have remembered it by then.
Yeah, well, if you remember and we're still recording before we do the next one, I'll slip it in. So, but for now, let's say justice for Kevin And
justice for Kevin.
We are going to wrap up, but we want to thank you for listening. And you let us know what you thought of the episode, just like it was so great to hear from Crowleysmistress at just the right time, right before we were going to record.
Reach out to us, because you never know what we're going to be recording. You could be in the next episode.
Yeah. And it helps us too, because like we do enjoy doing these character deep dives, but sometimes they aren't as deep as if someone else who's very invested and loves a character and has a certain insight to it. So share your thoughts with us. You can email us at idlingintheimpala@gmail.com. You can comment on Spotify in the Q&A section, leave a YouTube comment, join our Discord and chat with fellow idlers and us in real time. Check out our merch store, which is another fun way to show your support. You can find details for everything on our website. That's idlingintheimpala.com. Want to fuel our supernatural road trip? Consider joining us on Ko-fi for as little as $1 a month. We have perks to go along with the different membership tiers and would love to have you along for the ride.
Speaking of perks, we've got special shout-outs for some of our Ko-fi members. From our Shotgun Picks the Music tier, we've got Runaway Dreamer, Crowleysmistress, Sam and Dean 76, and Elia. From our own Mrs. Butters tier, we've got Charlie. Thanks for picking the tunes in the car and keeping the lights on in the bunker. Support like yours keeps our podcast going. Thanks. Don't forget, you can support us for free by liking, commenting, and subscribing on YouTube, and following, rating, and sharing on audio platforms. Engagement like that really helps us with the algorithms. All hail their benevolence. As always, we have the causes that we support in the description. So for me, you have LGBTQ+ talking charities. From Sandra, you have mental health charities, and of course, the main causes that we are highlighting, championing, spotlighting always are World Central Kitchen and Doctors Without Borders. If you want to know more about these causes, why we're supporting them, what they mean to us, check out idlingintheimpala.com. There's a page there called Causes Cause with all the details. So with that, we will say thank you for joining us in the back seat. #Justice for Kevin, and we'll see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.